Hello, furries. Welcome to the Fastest Furs Fall Fest. My name's Rad. I'll be one of three interviewers. You'll see interviewing some of our runners this extended weekend. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Mannequin. Welcome, Mannequin.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Mannequin will be running Peggle Deluxe later today, the PC version, and maybe a little bit more, maybe an expansion if we get those donations in. Um, and I did take a look at your speedrun.com profile, and I kind of do this for everyone. I try to figure out what have you been into. Is Peggle the latest thing, or it's been a lifelong obsession? And it looks like you're kind of new to speedrunning, and it's all Peggle. So tell me,
Yeah.
how did you get into speedrunning and into Peggle, and like which one was actually first?
I've been interested in speedrunning for a little while. I tried a few different games. I tried like Battle for Bikini Bottom and a few other ones, but nothing could really stick until like Peggle started to. I've been playing Peggle ever since I was little. I played like the Flash version of it that was on the PopCap website for a little while, and actually didn't really think about running it until I started playing very casually, even though it's like a kind of joke in the community. I would play the mobile game Peggle Blast a lot,
Nice.
and I looked and I saw that the Peggle speedrunning community is pretty active. Like at the time, it was very active lately, and I hadn't known at the time that there was a Twitch streamer by the name of Doug Doug who started to speedrun Peggle on his channel, and that like started to get the community to grow more and more. So it just got really active with a bunch of different resources to start. So that was how I essentially started picking up learning how to play the game and learning all the different strategies to beat the game as quickly as possible.
Nice. Yeah. In doing some of this research, I noticed the Peggle community, just like the number of runs of it is enormous. So that community looks
Yeah.
wild. Do you enjoy the community?
Absolutely. They're very friendly and like super creative. Like they're always doing new stuff. There's always new events going on. And just recently, a bunch of people in the community released a brand new, I would call it like a spiritual sequel to the game, where it's like a full length game featuring whole new levels and whole new, like different mechanics to the game, which I haven't played myself, but I will get to it very soon, definitely.
That's awesome. Um, I cannot move forward without asking you, what is your favorite Peggle master?
I would say in terms of running the game, my favorite master would be Cinderbottom because he has the fireball ability that allows you to cut through all of the pegs in one shot, and it actually covers up the bucket that moves across the level to get you a free ball. So you can actually get it to bounce off of the bucket and have it hit even more pegs. And there's a very specific trick that allows you to essentially have the ball bounce up in such a way where it gets a really nice amount of pegs all at once.
Nice. Yeah. I think I can't remember the name of the owl, the one you get last that does like the
Uh,
predictive shot.
Yeah, he also can be a really useful power. I think he was probably my favorite when I played him when I was a kid, either him or Splork, who does the space blast power that gets a huge amount of pegs
Yes.
around the
Yes.
green peg you hit.
I almost made a who joke there, but I didn't. So I just want you to give me some credit for that. Now, of course, we're here raising money for Trans Lifeline. And so thank you for being a part of that. You have an incentive to unlock a special kind of bonus DLC game. Can you tell me about that a little bit?
This little extra is like a very interesting piece of Peggle history. There's actually a decent amount of overlap between Peggle and World of Warcraft. The specific thing I'm doing is a bonus set of levels that they made, which are 10 World of Warcraft themed levels. You'll be using the two characters Bjorn and Splork throughout the levels to complete these very interesting, honestly kind of surreal levels in contrast to the more like bubbly, positive kind of aesthetic of Deluxe versus the kind of darker, more surreal tone of World of Warcraft. And it's especially weird because I've never played World of Warcraft. I don't know anything about it, but seeing
Me
the
neither.
backgrounds without context is very fun. Yeah.
Makes two of us.
Whether you're a fan of WoW or not, it'll be very fun to see these very strange levels.
It makes me want to see it more. So, chat furries, you know what to do. Get those donations in if you want to see the WoW incentive met. Um, Speaking of Trans Lifeline, obviously we are here as a furry speedrunning group raising money for Trans Lifeline. Do you have any specific connection to any one of those things, or maybe all three?
Uh, yeah, absolutely. I'm I would say I have connections to all three. Like I've known the furry community for a while and they've been always like super positive and super wonderful and they've done such amazing things and this cause is a very good one as well. Like especially now it is very important to support different sources like that. And also like I'm probably of all of them, I'm the newest to the speedrunning community, but the Peggle community in particular especially has been like super welcoming and amazing and they've done such cool things as well.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and thank you so much for lending your talents to help us raise money for Trans Lifeline. I do have to ask a question about the elephant in the room. I did not see Peggle 2 on your profile. What's the deal? There's so few people that run Peggle 2. Why not that one?
It's just different enough to the original Peggle where I feel like people are more trepidatious about it, but I would like to go around to it at some point because it does seem like a very interesting take on the style of Peggle. I definitely tried a bunch of different other strange versions of Peggle as well. Like I have Peggle Dual Shot recently I got, which is Peggle on the Nintendo DS, which is a very interesting format. So Peggle 2, from even though I haven't played it myself, from what I've seen, it looks like a very interesting take on that format of games. So I would love to try that, and I would love to see other people try it too.
Well, speaking of trying things, do you have plans in the near future for speedrunning in general, more Peggle or something else?
I'm not sure at the moment. There's a few miscellaneous games I would like to try doing. I would like to try, like, I'm one of those people that really likes weird niche, like, indie horror kind of stuff. So I may try. I've tried running this one like old popular freeware game from back in the day called Ebe, and that's a fun like shorter casual run to do, and it kind of deviates from the style of Peggle quite a lot. So that might be one that I'll tune into a little bit more as well.
Awesome. Well, I wish you luck on Peggle and Ebe in the future.
Yeah,
And yeah, thanks for taking time to talk to me.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Fastest Furs. Rad here with another runner interview tonight. I have the pleasure to bring you Killing Pepsi with a run of Tasomachi Behind the Twilight. Uh, Welcome in, and please tell me why we are killing Pepsi.
Also glad, good to be here. Killing Pepsi. Let's see. I believe about 2002, playing Maple Story with my neighbor. He had that name. I don't even know what I had. Something real dumb. But he, a couple years later, decided I'm gonna change to like Melon Guy. I'm like, cool. And he's been that for 20 years, and I just took his name. So it's
That's
mine now.
awesome. So you don't even know where it came from.
No, honestly.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. No better story than that. All right. Well, as you know, we all use speedrun.com, and so I took a look at your speedrun.com profile, and there's a decade plus of experience there, over 400 run submissions. I would say, if I had to take a guess at describing it, mostly indie platformer vibe, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to know how you got started and why indie platformers. What about those appeal to you?
Well, when I first started, I'd say like 2008, 2009. I tried to like get into speedrunning with like DK64, Donkey Kong Country, and Sunshine. I was a really awkward teen, not even teen at that point, I don't think. Like 10. And I just like saw forums and I was like, I'm not going to interact. That's anxiety. So let's not do that. But I did download Stream Stuff, even though I had like a 2003 compact laptop. Could not run anything. So I had a lot of aspirations. But when I finally got like a decent laptop in like 2016, early 2016, I was like, let's just do it. Let's find a game that looks fun, like actually join a community. I got my wisdom teeth out. And on a lot of drugs, I bought like 8 indie games that I've been looking at. And I still speedrun 4 of them to this day. But one of those was Fly Wrench. That was the first game that I kind of really broke into the scene with. I met my longest friends in speedrunning. I literally met my boyfriend in that game. And so from there, like I kind of just gravitate towards games that have really fun movement. I love momentum-based stuff, especially. So like you'll see in this Tatsamachi run, I tend to lean towards 2D, but like occasionally like a 3D platformer with like really cool movement will come along into my view, and I'll be like, this is my life now for the next year.
Yeah, speaking of, I will admit I have never heard of Tasamachi before I reviewed the submissions. How did we end up there? Where did Tasamachi come into view?
Yeah. Well, my partner I mentioned earlier, he loves looking through like Steam new releases like a couple times a week just to see all the quality content that they have to offer. And occasionally he'll just like I think about when the game came out, like 2021, he found it, and like a year later he's like, "Oh yeah, you should check this out." I was like, "This looks cute," and it's like now one of my favorite games of all time. Like it's so comfy and it's really just fun to play. It's just really fun to play.
Yeah, so I mean, unsurprisingly, the community for a niche game like that is pretty small. How does the community feel, and does it compare favorably or unfavorably to a bigger community that you might have been part of?
Yeah, it's interesting for these kind of games. It's always a fun, different experience because I'm the only one, I believe, who has like English as their first language in the community, and it's interesting game. I've dealt with it somewhat in other communities, but like this one in particular, like it's a tough hurdle to get over. But we still manage, and we are still constantly active, like every week, sharing new stuff and strats without much issue, honestly.
Okay. Well, while I was checking out your submissions for this game, I noticed that you had a PB in a shorter category that said, "quote I almost quit the game entirely thanks to Gengetsu Bridge Skip. Please elaborate."
Yeah, that is a trick exclusive to 90 sources. 30 minutes in to like a 33-minute speed run, you have to do like the hardest trick in the game. And like if you take more than like 3 tries, you're just over. And I think with that PB, which was the record at the time, but it's now been beaten by 2 minutes. With I want to go back to it, but that's good, man. It's just like it's it's a doozy.
Yeah, my favorite part of that PB was I listened to the first bit of it and you reset from the previous run and said, "I'm not going for that. Maybe."
Yeah.
Okay, well, you do have extra content that can be unlocked with donations to Trans Lifeline. You have an incentive that says comfy nighttime cleanups. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. In each area of the three areas slash towns, there's a little house that you can go into that has a clock that changes it to nighttime, which like changes all the graphics. All the lights in the city turn on, which is nice, and there's a new song that plays too for each area. So I'm like, let's just go out of our way to make the run a little more comfy. And the cleanup part comes from through the game. We go through the 3 areas, and then we do the 90 sources thing where we like repair the airship, and then we go back through each area to clean up, get some extra sources to beat the game. And in that cleanup is where we do the nighttime stuff.
All right. Well, we don't own the copyright on it, but as a furry community, I think we do know comfy. So, folks, let's get those donations in for Trans Lifeline. Let's make things a little cozier tonight, a little comfier, and extend the marathon just a little bit more. So, speaking of the furry community, of course, we're called Fastest Furs, and but we do attract a lot of runners that are furry adjacent or fur ally. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
I would say, uh, if you asked me like a year ago when I ran last event, I heard about the event before. I've been aware of furries and their existence. I know what it is. But I was like, oh, I'm adjacent. Whatever. Love it. But like earlier this year, I was just like, I am a furry. I'm like, that's just what it is now. That's my life. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this interview, folks. Definitely stay tuned for Tasamachi. See, I said it. I did it again. I'm good. I'm good now. And yeah, Killing Pepsi, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon, Fastest Furs. Rad back with another awesome runner, this time a silly goose. Risu will be running Saga Adventure DX Small Stories KAG for us a little bit later in the marathon. Thank you so much for joining me, Risu.
Thank you for having me.
So I usually start by asking, how'd you get into speedrunning? What's your speedrunning history? And I took a look, and it's basically all Sonic. So instead, I'm going to flip the
Yeah.
script a little bit and ask, how did you get into Sonic? What is your Sonic history?
Okay, it's also very silly. So what happened? So I've always enjoyed Sonic, and it's always been kind of like an on and off thing. Like I was like kindergarten, I was like really into it, and then you fall out of it, and then I'm into it again, and then once I was in college, I was actually really big in the cosplay scene. I mean, I still am, but like, um, one year in particular, I was like, yo, it'd be really funny if I cosplayed Shadow the Hedgehog, like as a joke. And then like I made a whole cosplay, and then that like lit a match or something. and then and then everything just kind of turned into Sonic. And then a good friend of mine, she was like, maybe you should speedrun Sonic. I'm like, and here we are.
Yeah, I did see Shadow the Hedgehog on that list. How did you enjoy running Shadow?
I do actually enjoy it. I need to get back to it, but I definitely that's a very unique game, and it has a lot of different like tech that's involved with it, and it's just kind of a nice breath of fresh air in some occasions, and then other times I want to throw the controller, so.
Totally fair. So, okay,
Mhm.
for this marathon, not Shadow, we're talking about Sonic Adventure.
Yes.
Specifically the small stories, quote unquote, right? Which
Yeah.
is Knuckles, Amy, and Gamma, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm glad I got that right. It'd be really awkward if I didn't. Uh, why that category, and what do you find interesting about it?
So that's like a really nice smaller, shorter kind of category. This is actually in our category extensions. If you swing over to the speedrun.com page, it's not going to be on the main leaderboards. They were like, okay, well, on average, you can do these three stories in the same amount of time you can do one of Sonic's story. So it kind of lets you experience a little bit more of the game as a whole, while not taking up like the amount of time that it would take to do the entire game. So like for reference, the entire game I would say on average is about maybe 2 hours. It's a nice good chunk of time. It's not like too long, it's not too short. I personally think it's perfect for like marathon settings like this.
Yeah, much more reasonable. You love the
Mhm.
game, but you don't have to devote that much time. All right, I
Exactly.
dig that. So Sonic communities can be pretty large, right? Like when you enter a speedrun community for a game that popular, you're probably looking at a pretty tall order to take a top spot leaderboard position at near the top percentage. How
Mhm.
do you feel about that? Do you just does it not really bother you, or do you kind of what do you how do you feel being in a larger speedrun community?
Gotcha. Yeah, so it is a little intimidating on some occasions. But a lot of my like I guess mantra with speedrunning is it's me against myself. So as I'm running, I'm really only comparing my times to what I can do already. So my leaderboard placement, if I have any like goal for it, it's like for me personally. I wouldn't say like I have like rivals or people that I'm trying to beat. There may be some friendly rivalry on some occasions in certain parts of the leaderboard, but for the most part, I'm definitely just kind of like going at my own pace. If you're like, oh well, I'm not in the top 10, like that could be like the top 1%. Like that's bananas. So like if you're aiming for that like on the Minecraft boards, like man, good luck.
Yeah, well, to be honest, you kind of took the advice out of my mouth. That's exactly what I tell people to do. Is not
Yeah.
it's like you got to find the goal that you're happy with, and almost try to
Mhm.
ignore the rest of the leaderboard while also getting help from those people. But it's more about the community building aspect than the competitive aspect, at least to me. Anyway,
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
so you've run this game a little bit, and I've peeked
Mhm.
at some of your previous runs, and you mentioned there's a lot of RNG, specifically, the Knuckles segment that's early. You have to deal with a lot of RNG. How do you manage that? Does it impact your morale and like resetting a lot, or is it something you kind of thrive off of? How does that feel to you?
So I don't actively go out of my way to run Knuckles by himself as much as I like used to. So I've kind of like conditioned myself to understand that like, hey, the time I get isn't my like a reflection of my skill necessarily. However, my reaction to how I deal with it and how I recover from that is going to be a reflection on my skill. So I need to be thinking ahead, thinking of like plan Bs in the event that, something just not great happens. So um yeah, I just do my best.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. I wish I could say I dealt
Mhm.
with it that good, but sometimes resetting hurts. But yeah.
No, it does.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like, eh.
you do the best you can. As long as you know it's not your
Mhm.
fault. It's never my fault. Anyway.
No.
So small stories. There we do have one big incentive. Uh, I'm sorry in advance. Big the Cat. We're trying to add Big the Cat. The donations to Trans Lifeline can
Yes.
unlock an incentive to run a fourth story, Big the Cat's story, or should I say story? I tried.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Anyway, tell me
No, that
about
was
Big the
really
Cat's
good.
story.
That was really good.
Okay,
That was
okay.
great.
Why should we add a
Oh my
fourth
god,
story?
Big? Why should we? Oh my gosh. So Big the Cat is the first category I actually did when I started picking up Sonic Adventure.
Ah, okay.
um Also like kind of as a joke, and then I got really serious about it, and then eventually I was like within the top 10. But he is our big fluffy pal. He is on a mission to rescue his best friend Froggy. He wants nothing to do with this like taking over the world stuff. His entire story is literally he just wants his friend back.
Okay, cool. Well, I would like to see that. So, chat, please make sure we unlock that incentive. One last question I have is, I today I am blessed with the presence of this goose, this wonderful VTuber model. Please tell me, Risu, why a goose? Give me your goose lore.
Okay, so I do have I have a website with full lore. My tongue is freaking out. Hold on. So anyway, um I don't know. I was just like, man, I'm a silly goose, and I kind of went with that. Um, but if you'd like the full lore, I am a silly goose who lives near an arcade, and I wanted to go into the arcade, but every time I went in, the security guards kicked me out. So we do be honking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Risu, thank you so much for joining for this interview. Thank you for joining Fastest Furs Marathon and running Sonic Adventure to help raise money for Trans Lifeline. I know we all appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see this small stories run.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to perform that for y'all and help out a great cause. So thanks again.
Welcome back, Fastest Furs. Rad here for the final time this weekend. But I do have the pleasure this Sunday to introduce you to Ramsey Fox, who will be running Dr. Mario 0220. Ramsey, hello. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Rad. This is so much fun.
All right. So, my typical workflow is I want to go look up what you've done, what you're interested in, what's your speedrun history. And I
Right.
found a pretty blank profile, but I do
Yeah.
know that you have run like this genre for a while. So why don't you catch us up on how'd you get into speedrunning and how did you end up at Dr. Mario?
So I've been, I got my first video games in 1989 at 5 years old. Original original Mario 1 for the NES. I beat it as a 6-year-old boy, and I've been chasing that high like ever since.
Relatable.
So, in the 20 teens, GDQ was like really exploding, really taking off. And I just stuck with it. I just stuck with it, a lot of watching. I was just a consumer for a long time. And then eventually, a couple games came around that I'm like, I love these games so much that I can justify, like, I will actually not hate it if I run it like 500 times. And yeah, puzzle games has always been my favorite. I did get the original Dr. Mario in 91 or something. A buddy of mine started streaming his qualifier attempts for the competitive Dr. Mario scene, which I did not know existed. And so I joined like immediately and started playing and practicing that. And I've been doing that for about not quite 2 straight years, but that's been my main game for well over a year at this point.
Sometimes that doesn't sound like much, but to stick with the game that long, I find is a lot. So yeah, to me that sounds like quite a bit of practice into one game. Speaking of, there are lots of different versions of Dr. Mario, but you'll be running the Super Nintendo version. Why? Why specifically that one?
Well, so there's three like retro versions, right? The NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo. I thought the NES and Super Nintendo both had good, good and bad points for it. SNES, the only bad point for it is that it's not what the competitive community plays. I think it's like, for a variety of reasons, probably just a strictly better version of it, except for the wonky fact that it's not a standalone cart in the US. It's part of the Tetris and Dr. Mario cartridge. It's really quick, and I think that makes for really exciting watching at the very least. So I'm really excited to have the Super Nintendo version here.
No love for the N64 version?
The N64 story mode would be an interesting one, maybe in the future. I have played that exactly once. I do have it. I do own it, but I'm not so experienced with that one.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I remember really killer music in Dr. Mario and Tetris for that matter. And to help raise money for Trans Lifeline, you have a bid war between the Fever music and the chill music. I'm not going to ask you to pick favorites,
Okay.
but tell me how it usually goes. How do you help somebody pick between Fever and chill?
I mean, you have to search deep in your heart. Like, as soon as you hear both songs, you will know who your champion is. Both sides have been at war for 30 years. Oh, God. 30 something years. And there's always, it's in good fun. We don't really mean that we love one and hate the other, but the people definitely have strong opinions.
Is there a
And
community favorite?
No, I'm not gonna sell out
I tried.
one
I
side or
tried.
the other. Absolutely not.
Well, I'm going to segue into community. So while we were trying to set up a time for this interview, you actually had to postpone a little bit to go to a literal tournament for this game. Please tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about that experience and how you did.
So November 2nd and 3rd this year was the Dr. Mario World Champion or Dr. Mario DRMC Championship. So the DRMC Championship in Columbus was great. A big live versus tournament, the biggest of the year. I don't know how many unique players we had, but it was close to, if not over 100. I did really well on day one. I qualified into the championship bracket in 9th place, and then I lost immediately, but that's okay. It's only, tournaments are tough. Half the people lose immediately. Can't be too sad about it. I had a great time. And above all else, like, we're not some big esport with 7-figure prize pools or even 5-figure prize pools. This is, for the love of the game and the love of each other, much more than anything else.
Yeah, having an event dedicated to your speed game is already special enough, but it sounds like you are in the top percentage and had a lot of fun. So that's really cool. So of course this is Fast as Furs, crossover between furry and speedrunning. I've probably said that a number of times this weekend, but I hear that you have a little bit of involvement in a specific con. Can you tell me about one of your niche contributions to the furry community?
So, my husband and I both have gone to Furry Fiesta in Dallas. At this point, we run the charity casino night. We're both professional casino workers, dealers/supervisors, and one of the years I was there, I saw they were for the first time doing their own casino night, and I just jumped in to help them set up and deal and all that. and we've been helping ever since. And a few years ago, they're like, "Hey, just run it. Just we'll put you on staff and just for this one event. We're not going to miss it. We're definitely going again this year in April, and can't wait."
Okay, so I hear Casino, I hear Tetris, Dr. Mario. There's no way you're not best friends with Ian Keith.
I've talked with Ian before.
Okay.
I've got some messages with Ian.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's all the time we've got for folks. Thank you so much, Ramsey, for joining me for this interview. Thank you so much for lending your talents at Dr. Mario to help raise money for Trans Lifeline. Folks, this will be my final interview. Catch me in chat. Ramsey, good luck. I know you'll do great.
Thanks for having me, Rad.